Hi, my name is Stephanie Agaton Michaels, founder and CEO of the Stephanie Michaels Software Company. Let's discuss why the Univah Film Engine, as of 2026, is being ranked number one in the world. Wow. Two, where I place it. Now, here's what's interesting. Gemini places us. This is how Gemini places us, okay? So, in the industry map, comparing to the best of the best, this is where Gemini says we place. So the best of the best, tier one, the masterclass is offline rendering. Of course, there's nothing beats offline rendering, right? In terms of quality, that's the gold standard. And the example is Weta Digital, which has Manuka and Pixar's RenderMan. And it says Univah's position. Univah matches the visual look, but does it at 1,000 times faster, seconds versus hours. Wow. Tier two. So right under Weta Digital and offline, the masterclass is Univah. Tier two, Gemini is now saying that we are the new standard. It's amazing how everything I said we would become, people are now agreeing that we are exactly what I knew we would become. I always said that Univah would become the new standard. I knew from day one when we were building this thing because I always had the vision of making real time as good as offline. And I said, if we achieve that, we will become the new standard because why wouldn't we? It's such a breakthrough in technology. And look at what Gemini is now saying. Gemini is now saying we are the new standard, the Univah Film Engine. This is the sweet spot. It provides Weta level fidelity without the need for $1 million render farm. This is coming from Gemini. Okay. This is what Google is saying about us. Okay. Tier three, underneath Univah, is game engines like Unreal and Unity. And then it says Univah is higher fidelity. It avoids the gamey look and handles complex geometry like entire planets more naturally. So it's placing us above game engines, which is correct. That is accurate. Because as we've always said, if you compare our renders to game renders, we are by far superior in fidelity. And that was always the goal. And so to see Google recognizing us for that, that's incredible. And then tier four would be pro sumter indie. I don't know what that means. Blender cycles Octane. Univah is faster and more integrated. It replaces the click, render, and wait workflow entirely. So basically, we are on the same level as Weta Digital in terms of fidelity. All AI tools, when we upload our renders to any AI tool such as ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, compared to Unreal Engine, compared to any other real-time renderer, we are ranked number one above all. And here's why. Here's the key to what cinematographers look for. Anyone in Hollywood, anyone who produces films at the highest level. There's a saying that good CG is CG that doesn't look like CG. Good visual effects is visual effects that doesn't look like visual effects. So when you do your special effects, visual effects, motion graphics for a film, the key is to make it look like it was not done in a computer. So if you can fool the audience into believing that your visual effects is actually real and happening to those characters in real life, that's what's called good CG. Okay? But if your visual effects looks like it was done in a computer program, then it's bad CG. So if you've never heard this before, then hear it from me. Good CG is CG that does not look like CG. Good visual effects is visual effects that does not look like visual effects. Okay? So the key for any excellent renderer, to have an excellent renderer, you must be able to produce renders that look like it was shot by a camera. If you're able to produce renders, that's why people love V-Ray so much. The reason people are willing to wait hours, days for a V-Ray render is to get something that looks like it was shot by a camera, by a high-end red camera or Arri Alexa camera. Okay? So you're looking to get footage that if you show to the average person, they wouldn't be able to tell that this was not shot by a camera. So our goal with Univah was, how do we get that kind of quality? How do we get offline rendering quality, V-Ray level quality, Arnold render quality, Redshift level quality? How can we get that fidelity, or the closest we can possibly get to that fidelity? But instead of going their offline render route, we have to get that fidelity in real time, directly in the viewport, without any graininess, without bad performance. The performance has to stay above 60 FPS. How in the world do we achieve that? Is that even possible? And so that's been the focus of the Univah Film Engine since 2020, to get offline rendering quality directly in the real-time viewport, so that you are always working in the final pixel, always working in the highest fidelity, always seeing the final, or the closest, as close as you can possibly get with real-time technology, to seeing the final quality directly in the viewport without a significant lag to your process, to your real-time process. Okay? So that's our focus at this company. That's been the goal since 2020. And we achieved it, and we're continuing to improve every day. So that's why when we show our renders compared to Unreal Engine renders, compared to Unity renders, compared to iClone renders, compared to even Octane render, even some V-Ray renders, and some renders you've seen in Cinema 4D, when we show this to people, they couldn't tell the difference between a real-time render and an offline render. When we show our renders, when we show what's in our viewport, and people think it's an offline render, that's how we know we've succeeded. It's really that simple. This is the holy grail of 3D animation. This is what every 3D animator has wanted since the beginning of 3D animation, was to be able to see the final quality in the viewport, or as close to the final quality as humanly possible, directly in the viewport. Because now you don't have to render all night just to see how your lights look. You don't have to render all night, wake up the next morning just to see your video. You can see your animations in final quality directly in the viewport. This is significantly, infinitely helpful to cinematographers, videographers, to technical directors, film directors. Anybody who works in the film industry understands what a huge achievement this is in computer graphics, and we're the first company to do it. Unfortunately, the big names like Unreal and all the other big companies that do real-time rendering, they do not do it at this level, at this quality. They provide game graphics, which is why our software is so necessary, because for people that are non-gamers looking for a film quality tool, Univah is that tool.